Hey, hello. Thanks for joining us on Celebrating Act Two. You can see that Art and I are with our favorite baby boomer philosopher, the fabulous Bill Jordan, the man who observes modern life with acute sensibility.
Oh,
How's
you
that,
mean
buddy?
wait? I thought he was the guy who was observes life through a sepia lens, but he's a radio guy.
That's not
Uh,
bad.
the other day, I don't know whether you guys have this problem. The other day, I have grandkids that range in the mid 30s down to 10, and I on my shelf I always have a whole bunch of maps. I used to have a book of John. What was the name of the book in California where you always used to use it for directions?
Sure, sure.
There was a big book that you spend $19 a year for the latest and
Yeah. Oh,
greatest of.
and it was wonderful. I mean, it had
Yeah,
it had everything, had details.
right. So anyway, I was showing, I was moving some stuff around the shelf, and my 10-year-old granddaughter had no clue what this piece of paper was that I was unfolding. Well, she had a clue, but she never saw it like up close and personal. Nobody uses it. A map. And the only one of my four grandchildren who really understand maps is my Eagle Scout grandson in his 20s, who used maps and a compass and things like that. Does anybody use maps anymore?
Um, you know what? I still get maps whenever we travel to another state. If we're driving and we cross into Virginia at the Welcome Center or South
Yep.
Carolina or Tennessee, they will still have a printed map, and I grab a map just to have. I love maps. I truly love them. I used to want to be, I mean, like for a brief period of time when I was a little guy, I wanted to be a cartographer who was a map maker. And we'd go on trips. My mom would take me, and we'd go up to see my brother at his first job in Petersburg, Virginia, and I'd ride along, but I'd sit there with my face glued to the Virginia map, and I'd say, okay, we should be crossing this creek here in a few minutes, and we'd cross the creek, and I'd get so excited because it was like I was predicting what was going to happen. Um, but anyway, yeah, we do the maps, and then we got into I bought one of those Garmin, units, like a little mini TV screen, and you plug everything in.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
talking about that on the air one day, and a woman called and said, all of that is on your phone. I said, what? All of that is on your phone. Well, at the time, I'm sure I had a flip phone. It wasn't on that phone. But, with our smartphones, we do have that. So we do have the GPS.
Sure.
And I think that maybe we've gotten a little too dependent on them. I mean, I like them. I love them. And I've told my wife numerous times, it's like, how did we get anywhere without this device? Depending on where you're going, if you try to drive in DC or any large city, for example, and if you're trying to read off a piece of paper, like a MapQuest thing, like we used to do the directions, and then it would print up the detailed directions for you, the
Yeah.
turns come too fast and furiously. You can't keep it straight, right? So the GPS is a godsend, but sometimes, my GPS lady will want to send me in another direction from where I want to go. I know a path I want to go, but there's a couple of turns that I'm a little iffy about down the road, but she'll already immediately start to send me another way. Now, that might be because she knows there's an accident ahead for road construction, or she's just screwing with me. Sometimes she's just screwing with me and I'm driving in a circle.
I'm,
So
I'm sure.
I have a
Yeah,
love relationship with the GPS lady. I will say, I think it is beneficial to have a pretty good idea in your mind about how to get there by actually looking at the detailed directions before you get on the road
Right.
or looking at a map so you have again the general idea so she's not telling you all of a sudden you're turning east. It's like, no, I'm trying to go northwest, you
right.
know?
Also, I think one of the things that we're missing in the GPS is that while oftentimes I use the Google app, I found that to be the most predictable for me. And it seems to learn that, for instance, the problem you had about sending another route, if it's like 3 feet shorter, it may send you, but then you got a left and right turn through private neighborhoods, maybe where there was gunfire in the last couple of weeks. Okay,
Yeah.
but you're going to save 3 feet, even though you're going to your wife's going to be cashing in your insurance policy. Maybe there's some cahoots there. But the nice thing I like about a map is that it gives you a general sense of the surrounding areas
Yeah.
in case you do miss a spot. Like, make a right turn in 782 feet. Well, what is 782 feet? So if you make that wrong right turn, although they're getting better, it's amazing how accurate they are and that they know about ramps and about freeway splits and things like that. But I always appreciate seeing in general what is to the east or north or south of me. If for some reason at the last minute I had to, let's say, find a gas station or a repair shop or something like that, to have some general idea. Even though you could say, I want fast food restaurants or I want a nice restaurant, what's nearby, or you put in your favorite chain of a food chain or something, and they'll tell you where the closest one is. They're pretty good
Right.
with that. But
Yeah.
but maps are still, I think, a valuable skill. It's like analog watches with the hands. The hands going around. There are not too many of them around anymore either. If you can't read numbers 1 through 12, you're in trouble.
That's another notion of that. You get a digital watch, and I'm wearing one. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, it does it, but it shows you an analog face. It's a
Oh,
digital.
that's cool.
You can use an analog face for it. So,
Mhm.
the GPS, the first time I remember using it on the road, we were on a trip. We were going to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. So we fly into Albuquerque. We rent the car. And if you don't, I can't remember the name of the highway. Maybe an interstate, but it's a main road that goes directly from Albuquerque to Santa Fe. And I want to say it's like an hour north. Well, I go to it and the thing's directing me out of the airport and I get on that highway, and it's the first time I've ever used it. And I'm just riding. And finally I keep going, is this thing on? Is this working? And it was a straight shot for an hour. She was silent, my GPS lady, but it's like, I wanted some encouragement. I wanted some, hey, you're doing fine. You're just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to get there. I needed something like that. But now, you look at it, and you guys are, we're guys, so we probably do this. We see that estimated time of arrival is 12:07. That's not an estimated time of arrival. That's a challenge. That is, I'm going to beat 12:07. That's the number I need to beat. You guys do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I beat it,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
some
one of the things in
technology.
California, we have these high occupancy lanes, these HOV lanes. You may have them back east as well by the time. And so they always give you, it was kind of nice because they always give you the time based upon the speed limit. But if
Right.
you're the HOV lane, oftentimes you're going about 5 or 10 miles faster than everybody else. So you get the sense of satisfaction that, I wasn't speeding, but I beat the time that, Sally Mae or actually I think at one time it gave you the choice of voices you could hear.
Yes.
And maybe a dialect. Maybe they still do, but everybody, it defaults to some woman. And by the way, I also have to praise Google Maps in that they're getting the names of we have a lot of Spanish named streets out here on the West, and they're getting much better at getting them accurate. So I don't know whether they get feedback and they update it, but pretty good job.
Yeah, it's pretty funny when it mispronounces. And then, of course, I'm in Fuquay, Varina, North Carolina. They never
Oh
get,
yeah, don't start there. This is a family channel.
get in trouble saying that word. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And
they've
it's a
gotten
pure evil.
they've gotten so sophisticated that you can choose different voices.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for them to add the extra layer of give me a voice that I can argue with. I want pre-programmed questions like, "How you doing? Hey, are you awake? Hey, what's happening?" Something.
Oh, you mean something to substitute for your spouse who doesn't,
gonna
because you're driving solo.
You've had that program for a long time, John.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's the bottom line on maps, Mr. Philosopher?
Well, I mean, the bottom line for me is, I mean, I think it's good to have a backup idea of where you're going, but it's a necessary and beneficial thing, is it not? I mean, I wonder how much sort of a learned helplessness we're getting if we can get anywhere without a GPS, but I lean on it so much and it's amazingly accurate. I could punch in, today here in North Carolina, punch in to drive to your house, Art, and it would tell me what time I arrive. I mean, it's bizarre. It's amazing. And then I start going, how can the lady GPS, the Google Maps GPS lady, be telling me where to go, how to know where I'm going, and then everybody else on the road, she knows everything at the same time. I can't comprehend it, but I am sure glad we have it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree that maps are something comforting because it's one of those things that's tactile as opposed to digital. But our kids, very few kids, unless they're in scouting or something else, actually ever learn it. And just the amazement on my granddaughter's face as to this thing. And what is it? How do you read it? And wait, just tell them where you want to go. You don't even have to punch it in. You can just say the name of the address because they have Alexa or Siri or whoever it is that you named as your AI component. You just talk to it, and it'll come up. If you start putting in the digits, it'll look all across America. And by the time you get to the fourth digit, if it's a 5-digit thing, there may be something so unique about it that's going to pop up 5 things with the correct spelling of the street name. So maps, I think everybody there should be like how to use the right fork and things like that, although most people eat with their fingers now, finger food from the fast food places.
Yeah, it's one of the things so that kids nowadays are not going to know the joy of pulling in somewhere and at possibly your wife's insistence and asking for directions for how to get somewhere. They're not going to know about that where somebody goes, well, you go down here, you go northwest, it's northwest. Now, which, you got to look at the sun and figure that out. And I always like the ones where it's like about a mile before you get to the Exxon station, you'll make a left. It's like, how do I know where the Exxon station? So kids now, they're missing out on all this, just the joy, the joyfulness and the excitement, the wonder and the confusion of someone
lost.
This discussion of maps has taken us off directions, but I have to add one other thing. It reminded me of how driving at 65, 70 miles an hour and opening a map and then refolding it while you're driving. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Lost that joy as well.
Don't fold it that way. The fold goes the other way.
Or you have to unfold it with 2 hands while you're sort of holding onto the steering wheel to get to the right place. Yeah.
For the road straight, you just hold the steering wheel with your knee. The first fold is horizontal. The rest falls into place.
Right. Wow. Anyway, on that happy note, shall we toast to us old codgers?
Well, I mean, that was kind of a goofy one, but it's always fun to laugh with you guys. What can I tell you? So this is the lesson learned here is as we get older, and particularly for my baby boomer friends, if you're born between 1946 and 1964, you're by definition a baby boomer. Don't bemoan the fact that we're getting older. Live your life, forget your age, and embrace the boom.
Amen, brother.
Thank you, guys.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.